So if you ever wondered when you're actually supposed to start paying yourself in your business, or how much is too much, or how little is too little, then this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Peace and Profits podcast. I'm your host, Kendra James Anderson, and around here we talk about building a profitable business that supports your whole life, not just your bank account. And today we are talking all things compensation planning, when to pay yourself, how to pay yourself. So let's get right into it. So I like to say that we build businesses that take care of you and not the other way around. We did not get into business to hustle and grind and do all the things to pour our lives into building a business just for the sake of building a business. We want to build something that's living and breathing and sustainable that can also in turn support us and support the lifestyle that we're wanting. So that is what we all talk about here. So let's first talk about compensation planning and why this matters. So what I see is too many entrepreneurs, especially women, that scale their business and never really feel safe enough or secure enough to pay themselves consistently. You're kind of just paying yourself with what's left, or paying yourself this quarter a great amount, but then you go dark for 2 quarters. So you don't consistently pay yourself of value. And that, again, is not why we went into business. And I understand that there's a lot of confusion perhaps around, you might hear one guru say pay yourself first, you hear somebody else say pay yourself last. You got to pay your team first. I am not a pay yourself first or a pay yourself last person. I'm a pay yourself according to the reality and the strategy. At the end of the day, your business is always in a season. That season might be a season of growth. It might be a season of sustaining. It might be a season of scaling. Depending on what season you are in, that's going to determine how you pay yourself, how much you might pay yourself, the mechanism in which you pay yourself, whether it's payroll or a draw or a distribution. So you really have to understand what season you're in your business. Now, when I'm talking about season, and I say all businesses have seasons, I'm not talking about if you're a seasonal business and you're I'll make all of my money, during the holiday season. No. I'm saying in the full life cycle of your business, from when you launched it to when you phase out of it, whether you sell, whether you just decide to sunset it. During that entire life cycle, there are different seasons. Again, growth seasons or just sustaining seasons. And depending on which season you are actively in, that's going to determine how the business is going to take care of you. It is, in my opinion, not always pay yourself first. You got to pay yourself before you pay your team, or else the business is going to crumble. Or a pay yourself last. You got to pay your team first and pay yourself with what's left, because that's how you show yourself as a great leader. It can't be that cut and dry, that black and white. It is about strategy, and it is about clarity and understanding where you are in your business. That is what's going to get you the proper compensation plan. So that advice out there, can cause a lot of confusion, and I understand that. So again, knowing your strategy and how to pay yourself is really part of that peace and profits framework that I talk about all the time. Again, you did not start a business to become your own underpaid employee or sometimes unpaid intern. You have to be very clear on, again, the season that you're in your business, but also what your actual life goals are. And let me just pause on that for a second, because I think sometimes we get so caught up in growing our business and put so much attention into our business that we forget what our actual life goals are. It's just I want to just grow this business to this, or I want to make the business do that. I want to hire this employee or that employee. But pause for a second and figure out, what do you actually want your life to look like? And that's going to help create some of those business goals that are going to align with that personal goal. So as an example, if you really sat quietly and thought about it, do you want to work more? Do you want to work less? Can you work more? And when I say more, I mean hours, just from a sheer time perspective. This summer, we're in 2025 right now, about to go into fall of 2025. I had to completely pause any new clients or anything within the business, because I was moving myself and my family from Texas to the DMV area, to the DC area. And that took a lot of work and a lot of coordination, selling a house in Texas, looking at homes out here, finding schools, all of those things. And so it didn't matter what my financial goal was in the business, I had to pause, because in life, I had to pause. I had to give myself the space and the breath to be able to be an excellent wife, an excellent mom, an excellent just human to myself. And I couldn't do that while also onboarding 20 new clients in the summertime, right? So again, that's the season. The boys are off to school now, so we're about to open these doors. But that's the season that I was in the summer. So understanding your life seasons, your life goals is going to help you create those business goals, and you can make sure that they're aligned. So now let's talk quickly about what you actually need to pay yourself. So the first thing is just business model clarity, or just understanding how much you're actually bringing in your business. This is going to be based off of clean books. So having clean books, your bookkeeping in order to know your revenue, your expenses, your reserves, your cash flow. If you understand that, then you can understand that tangible numbers behind how much you can afford to pay yourself from your business. The other thing is a strategic forecast. So what I do as a CFO is I build a financial forecast or a plan that has clear owner pay guidelines in there. So whether you're paying yourself as a payroll, as a W-2 employee, or as a, draws or distributions, regardless of the method, it's actually built in financially into your forecast with a strategy behind it. So your pay is not just a random pay or a random draw. It is a strategy. It's a strategy from the business perspective, from the financials. It's also a strategy on the tax side, which is a whole nother conversation, but how much you pay yourself and all of that layers into tax strategy. Again, different conversation for a different day, but you need to know that information. Working with the CFO can help. You need to know that information in order to properly pay yourself. So all of that kind of rolls into compensation planning, which is understanding your financials, understanding what you need personally as well, having clean books to be able to determine what those numbers are, and layering that into your forecast. That's going to help build out that overall strategy. So I'll quickly talk about what this means for our clients and what that looks like for our clients here at the Finance Femme. So it could be a monthly or a bi-weekly salary or a distribution, but it's that with intention. So it's not just with the cash that's left over. You're not just processing a payroll or taking money out just based on what's left in the bank account. It's actually very intentional. It's pre-calculated and premeditated. So yes, again, monthly, bi-weekly pay in that term. Also pay raises. So pay raises that are built into the forecast. So we know in advance that you're going to be able to increase your salary or your pay to X amount based on the performance of the business growing to this. So it's again built into the forecast. Bonus structures built into the forecast. If the business achieves X metric, then you get Y payout. And I love doing that because it incentivizes you as the business owner as well to be able to corral yourself and corral your troops, your team, in order to hit a certain goal in the business that's not just we're working hard to make the business better, but it's actually tied to something specific. And that metric or that goal can be whatever you need it to be in that season. It could be new clients, it can be client retention, it can be a marketing metric, it can be a sales close metric, but whatever it is, you're really rallying the whole business behind that metric so that everybody can get paid out their bonuses. So another thing that we do here is we have some clients actually create personal savings goals as well. So they might say, okay, I know I want to save for this house, or I know I want to, grow my family or move across the country or do whatever. And I want to have a certain savings goal on the personal side. Let's layer that in, or let's make that aware, at least in the business strategy and in the business forecast, so that the business can support that. Because again, we are all about making life goals and making the business support those goals. Your business and your life are two separate entities, but they're really all when we're thinking about planning. So to that point, a couple of examples of how that's happened in the business. So one is just that we had a client who wanted to hit $100,000 in her personal savings account. Some of it was because she wanted a down payment on a home, but also some of it was just she really wanted to hit the 6-figure savings account goal on the personal side. And so since I was aware of that, I was able to factor some of that into her business planning to be able to account for the fact that she was wanting that 100K. So we were able to know based on her forecast when she'd be able to attain that, because we knew when we would be able to increase her salary, when we would be able to pay out certain bonuses. So we factored that personal life goal into her business. Another client example is that we had a client that went from paying herself just like whenever she could, like when there was money left over, to a consistent $6,000 a month. That was her base pay. And then she also got paid quarterly bonuses if the business hit certain goals. So now let's just talk about the shift that you might need to make in your business. So one is that you want to start treating yourself like an employee that you do not want to lose. Because at the end of the day, whether you are LLC or S corporation or C corporation, partnership, whatever you are kind of an employee in your business. Maybe not technically, but you are basically an employee in your business. You're a worker in your business, and you do not want to lose yourself in your business, because if you do, then how is the business going to operate? That might just be the end of the business, right? So treat yourself as an employee that you don't want to lose, and pay yourself accordingly by making sure that you are at least consistently paying yourself. So the Peace and Profits way is, creating pay that feels aligned with your value and your lifestyle, but also while also keeping in mind what the business can actually afford. So the peace in Peace and Profits is paying yourself the value and the lifestyle that you want. The profits is keeping into account what the business can actually afford. So you really, again, want to marry those two things. You want to make sure that they are aligned. You want to understand that I am in this season in my business right now, and while I might want to pay myself $250K a year, right now I can pay myself $125K or $80K or whatever that is. But when you're at least aware of what it is that you're wanting on both sides, on that Peace and Profit side, you're able to then create that and make that happen. And if you feel like you're struggling with that, reach out, because literally that Peace and Profits framework is how we build everything. And it just provides so much clarity and guidance, true marching orders to getting your business from where you currently are to where you're wanting it to be. So, your business is not successful if you are underpaid and overwhelmed. That's just not the standard around here. So we really want to make sure that we're doing things differently. We really want to make sure that we build structure so that you can have softness. There's a lot of talk about the soft life, but there are no amount of bath bombs and spa days and, specialty wines and all of those things that you can have that will offset being overwhelmed and underpaid in your business. It just doesn't work like that. So let's build the structure. Let's have the plan in place so that we can have the softness in our lives and in our business. And if you feel like you need assistance with that, then definitely reach out, shoot us a DM over on Instagram at The Finance Femme.